Pilipinas! Welcome to Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Archie Rose Natividad Yi, coming to you from Vancouver in the province of British Columbia, bringing you stories and news commentary from across the country. Here are some of the stories we'll cover today. Canada tops over 500,000 cases of COVID-19, secures diverse portfolio of vaccines globally. The federal government pledges $100 million to fight food insecurity during the pandemic. Ontario takes further action to limit spread of COVID-19. Staying healthy, helping environment by plogging. Canada to send its first Canadian to travel around the moon in 2023. Hawaii healthcare workers look forward to receiving COVID-19 vaccine, encourage others to do the same. Philippines' Kai Sotto takes part in G League Ignite training camp. And Nets Kyrie Irving returns to TD Boston Garden. We start another week. Good Monday morning. As you're grabbing a fresh cup of coffee, here is what the weather looks like. First, let's check out Manila. It's going to be a wet one in the city. AccuWeather is forecasting a high of 25 degrees Celsius with rain. Now let's look at the weather across Canada. Vancouver, cloudy at 9 degrees. Edmonton, mostly sunny at 5 degrees. Calgary, cloudy at 6 degrees. Winnipeg, cloudy at -5 degrees. Montreal, light snow, -1 degrees. Ottawa, cloudy at -1 degrees. Toronto, cloudy at 4 degrees. Halifax, cloudy at 1 degrees. And St. John's, New Brunswick, cloudy at 2 degrees. And now, over to our top stories. Canada tops over 500,000 cases of COVID-19. With the first distribution of the coronavirus vaccines underway, the number of cases across the country continues to surge. To date, there are over 500,000 Canadians afflicted with the COVID-19 virus. The latest number of cases took just 15 days to increase to 100,000. Compared to the beginning of the health crisis, where it took 3 months to reach 100,000 cases in June. A country of which 38 million people call home, 2 provinces are hit the hardest with the highest number of cases nationwide. Ontario and Quebec racking up over 2,000 cases a day. 5 regions in Ontario and Quebec will be going on lockdown stage as of Monday, December 21st. The Ontario regions entering lockdown stage are Hamilton, Peel Region, Toronto, and Windsor, Essex County. As for Quebec, the province is closing all non-essential businesses and issuing a mandatory work-from-home order for nearly all office employees until January 1st. And asking all schools to go online only for the first week that classes resume in the new year. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the number of vaccines that have been acquired for the preliminary stages of immunization for all provinces.
On Monday, vaccinations started for the most vulnerable and our frontline workers. Canada has secured agreements for up to 417,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines ahead of schedule. This includes over 200,000 early doses of the Pfizer vaccine scheduled for next week and 168,000 doses of the Moderna vaccine before the end of December, pending Health Canada approval. I want to assure you again that any vaccine approved in Canada will be both safe and effective, and that health experts are making those decisions independently. In January, we'll be getting 125,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine per week for a total of about 500,000 doses for the month. With the guaranteed millions of doses coming in 2021, every Canadian who wants a vaccine will get one, no matter where they live. This is the largest immunization campaign in our country's history, and I know that we have the right plan and the expertise that we need.
The Prime Minister also announced that Canada has secured the largest number of vaccines per capita, a diverse portfolio of vaccine options, and helping developing countries with access to tests and treatments in battling the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, I know that this won't be the kind of holiday season we might have hoped for, but that doesn't mean we can't feel hopeful about what comes next. This past year has had its challenges, but we faced them together. When this new virus started spreading, few people thought we'd have an approved and safe vaccine so quickly. So thank you to our scientists, to researchers, and to experts around the world who stepped up and worked incredibly hard. You've all done incredible things this year, and it's important that we keep supporting you in the work you do, and that we keep listening and trusting you in your expertise and your work to keep us all safe. The vaccination campaign has started. Millions of doses are already secured and will be coming in the coming months. We planned thoroughly. We're relying on advice from the best experts, and we're working with the provinces and territories to roll them out. Canada has the most vaccines secured per capita and the most diverse portfolio of vaccine options in the world. We're also doing our part to help developing countries get access to more tests, treatments, and vaccines so we can fight this pandemic everywhere. There are reasons to be hopeful for 2021. Just like through this spring, summer, and fall, we will continue to be there for you. We will have your back every step of the way. We will do, as a government, whatever it takes for as long as it takes to keep you safe and supported.
Canada's federal government is also putting food security as a top-of-mind priority during the pandemic, with a pledge of $100 million going towards communities and local food organizations supporting families and individuals in need of help. According to Agriculture Minister Marie-Claude Bibeau, the federal government will distribute $30 million to Indigenous communities and about $65 million to local organizations across Canada to support food security during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bibeau said Food Banks Canada and Breakfast Club of Canada will each receive $18.5 million. And Community Food Centers, Second Harvest, and the Salvation Army will also receive just under $9 million each.
More than a third of Canadians who rely on food banks are children. That's unacceptable. In a country like Canada, no child should go hungry. In October, our government announced another $100 million under the Emergency Food Security Fund, doubling our investment from the spring. This morning, Minister Bibeau outlined the details of where that additional funding will go, including $30 million for food security in First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities. With these funds, food banks, local food organizations, and Indigenous groups will be able to purchase and safely distribute food to help vulnerable people and communities. I want to say a special thank you to all the volunteers and workers at food organizations who've stepped up to help their fellow Canadians. I met many of you virtually in October, and I remember you sharing how you had to adapt really quickly when the pandemic hit. Thank you for your work, your time, your generosity, and for your commitment to answering the call for others in need.
In Ontario, Premier Doug Ford has extended the province's lockdown due to rising number of COVID-19 cases. Here is Eagle News correspondent April Masongsong with the report.
Toronto's current lockdown is set to expire Monday, December 21st, but with the rising number of new COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations, Premier Ford made a comment Friday that the lockdown will be extended until January 4th. Premier Ford also held an emergency meeting with 113 hospital leaders in Ontario Friday afternoon to assess the worsening status of the province. The Premier said more details on the lockdown extensions will be announced Monday. Here is the official statement from the Ontario Hospital Association after the said meeting. We are hopeful that the government will heed the advice of Ontario's hospitals as we call for the urgent implementation of stricter and more robustly enforced public health measures in communities across Ontario. We also ask municipal leaders to accept and support the need for swift and assertive action. As pointed out by Dr. Eileen Davila on Wednesday, there are more people who are going out and moving around the cities and neighboring regions now compared to the lockdown in March. For this reason, these regions right outside Toronto and Peel are now also placed in lockdown. Premier Ford announced Friday that Hamilton will join the rest of the GTA regions and be placed in lockdown starting Monday. The increase in hospitalizations puts additional pressure to place more regions in lockdown and implement stricter restrictions. Here is what Toronto Mayor John Tory has to say. This is one more warning sign from our public health experts and hospital officials that we have to take further action to stop the spread of COVID-19. I know people are tired of the restrictions and the ongoing lockdown, but we need to act together and do the right thing to turn this around, to save lives and to protect the health of all residents. On Friday, Ontario reported 2,290 cases of COVID-19 with 40 more deaths. This is the fourth consecutive day that the province has reported over 2,000 new cases of COVID-19. In Toronto, April Masangsang, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Have you heard of plogging? Eagle News correspondent Jeanette Duazo tells us why people are getting into this new eco-friendly trend.
Due to the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people had been confined to their homes as part of advice and/or part of health protocols set by health experts and governments around the world. There has been a lot of changes in our daily routine and how people do things, including getting enough physical activity due to social distancing. People do exercise at home nowadays and go to places where people can go out, riding bicycle, jogging and walking are also alternative activities. What about exercising that would benefit not only our body and mind, but also the environment? That's what this low-intensity, eco-friendly exercise does. It's called plogging. It is a combination of jogging and the Swedish word for pickup, plocka up. The movement was started by Erik Ahlstrom in Sweden in 2016. It gained popularity among environmentalists as well as fitness enthusiasts with the help of social media. By 2019, people in hundreds of locations around the world are plogging. A few variations of this exercise came out, combining it with other outdoor activities like skateboarding, walking, rowing, and hiking.
For me, walking at the beach is one of ways to have a break from pretty much everything, from reading emails, being on the phone, on your tech. Nature walk is really nice, and while I'm at it, why not pick up some litter? And that's what I do on a daily basis. So this is where I go all the time.
According to the website of Fauna and Flora International, the world's oldest international wildlife conservation organization, plastic is accumulating in the world's oceans. An estimated 8 million tons of plastic are swept into our seas and oceans every year, mainly via rivers and coastal urban centers through churned waste, sewage systems, road runoff, and littering. posing danger to over 500 marine species known to suffer from entanglement in and consumption of plastic debris, both of which often prove fatal. At the moment when in most places, people are advised to keep their bubble small, to be around with their own household members only, this is a perfect time to go plugging. Get out where it is allowed, go for a walk, get fresh air, bring a plastic bag, and plug away. In British Columbia, Jeanette Tuaso, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
We are coming up at 7:18 a.m. You are watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced, not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Agila Pilipinas! A one-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Tune into Mata ng Agila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Agila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to thank our help outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Archie Rose, Natividad Yi, from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Canadian government announces it will send its first Canadian to travel around the moon in 2023. Here is Eagle News correspondent Jay Suarez with the report.
The federal government of Canada has signed an agreement with the United States to send its very first astronaut around the moon as part of a broader effort to establish a new space station above the lunar surface. Industry Minister Navdeep Bains revealed the new Gateway Treaty, which formalizes Canada's engagement in the U.S. mission to build a new station known as the Lunar Gateway. The Lunar Gateway is projected to be about 1/6 of the International Space Station. Quote, Canada will join the U.S. on the first crewed mission to the moon since the Apollo missions, unquote, Bain said during a news conference with Canadian Space Agency astronauts Jeremy Hansen, David St. Jacques, Joshua Cuttrick, and Jenny Sidney Gibbons. The astronauts who will get to fly past the moon has yet to be determined. Quote, launching in 2023, a Canadian Space Agency astronaut will be part of Artemis II, the first mission to carry humans to the lunar orbit in over 50 years. This will make Canada only the second country after the U.S. to have an astronaut in deep space, Bain stated. While Artemis II will not touch down on the moon, the U.S. has plans to land a ship on the lunar surface in 2024. The new treaty also formally confirms that Canada will provide a new robotic arm to help with the Lunar Gateway construction which will orbit the moon and allow for exploration of the lunar surface and assist in future missions to Mars. The government committed $22.8 million towards development of the new Canadarm3 by MDA Canada. Jay Suarez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
In sports, Philippines' own Kai Sotto takes part of the new training program launched by the NBA's G League to get a head start in his NBA career. Eagle News correspondent Zarita Sese files this report.
There is no doubt that all of Philippines will be listening in on next year's NBA draft to see if one of their own makes it to the big leagues. Philippines' own Kai Sotto will be eligible to join the NBA in the 2021 NBA draft after some time with the new program launched by the NBA's G League. The G League Ignite team was designed to be a one-year development program for elite NBA prospects who are looking to get a head start on their NBA career. In his recent media availability, Kai Sotto does admit that the competition he has seen since his time in the G League is tougher than what he's used to, but it forces him to grow both as a player and as a person. Kai is also taking advantage of being around veteran players and coaches who have had many years of experience in a league that he hopes to be a part of someday. Despite being so young at just 18 years old, Kai understands what playing for the NBA as the first full Filipino player represents.
I think it's just the culture of the Philippines being really supportive, especially basketball fans. You know, if you don't know, basketball in the Philippines is really big. So me being a full-grown Filipino trying to make it to the NBA, they really support me. And there's been a lot of messages, comments, and I just do my best to just keep my feet on the ground and just keep working. Because at the end of the day, when I reach my dreams, it's all for them. It's just not Kai's dream. It's a lot of people's dreams. So as I said, I just work every single day to get better. It's for me to reach that goal, and I'm doing it for my family, and I'm doing it for them.
When asked about being an inspiration to young Filipino basketball fans who hope to make it one day, here's what he had to say.
Dream big and just to believe in yourself, because believe me, there are times that nobody believes in me. I mean, only my parents, only my family, but even my former teammates didn't believe in me that I can make it this far. But I use that as a motivation for me to even work harder, not just to prove them wrong, but also like shine a light for them that, you know, this player that I played with before is now in the G League. So I think it's just dreaming big and just working hard for it, because it's not easy. There will be a lot of challenges that will come ahead, and you just have to be ready for it. And you will fail along the way, but that will help you get better, and that will help you get stronger when it comes to a bigger challenge.
Sotto is joined by his fellow Filipino teammate, Jalen Green, who hails from Fresno, California, and was projected to be #1 in his draft class. India's Principal Singh and Congo's Jonathan Kaminga also joined Sotto as part of Ignite, showing basketball fans all over the world just how diverse the sport is. Reporting from Toronto, Canada, Zarita Sese, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Kyrie Irving played his first game at TD Boston Celtics since signing with the Brooklyn Nets 2 summers ago. Joining us live is Eagle News correspondent Tenny Sumagi with the details. Good morning, Tenny.
Good morning, Archie. And yes, Kyrie Irving returns to Boston for the first time since signing with the Brooklyn Nets. And things didn't go well between the superstar and the Celtics, but the relationships he has with his former teammates remain strong. Irving shares details on his relationship with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and is happy on the Celtics. At
the end of the day, we went to war together, and I respect all those young men down there. We're not even young. We're just young kings growing in a business where we want to do what makes us happy. And, to see Jason get better, to see Jalen get better, to see these guys mature and be in the positions that they're in. I'm nothing but proud of them. To see other guys be happy, that's all I could want. So coming here is easy, man. Performing here is easy, Malika. Performing here is easy. Basketball is easy. At the end of the day, we went to war together.
The Nets will begin their season on Tuesday against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. In New York, Tenny Sumagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Tenny. Well, Kyrie Irving had an explosive first season with the Nets until his season-ending shoulder injury. How will the All-Star fare under the new coach and British Columbia native Steve Nash?
I'm very excited to see what Steve Nash can do with Kyrie Irving. He's one of the best point guards in the league, the best handles. And I think when you have somebody like Nash, who is a two-time MVP, a Hall of Famer, one of the best point guards to ever play in the league, develop his game, I guarantee you, Archie, the Nets will be one of the best teams in the NBA, if not this year's NBA champions. And I don't say it because I'm from New York. I've actually seen the role players develop their game for the past 4 years, and with the combination of Irving and Durant, this is the team that everybody should look out for. So I'm excited here as a New Yorker, a basketball fan, and a big fan of Steve Nash. He and I had the same hairdo back in the day.
Well, that definitely is such a high compliment to, in regards to what to expect. Now, lastly, how do you like the Nets' chances of winning this season's NBA title?
Well, I'm going to be biased and say I want them to win the NBA title, but this league is very competitive, and we're going to see a very competitive Eastern Conference. A lot of the attention goes to the Western Conference being a stacked conference with a lot of talent, a lot of great teams. But the Eastern Conference has the Bucks. They acquired Drew Holiday from the Pelicans. They're a lot stronger. The Sixers. I love a great division rivalry, and they're going to be a tough team to beat for the Nets because, you have the new coach, Doc Rivers, plus you have who knows if they will acquire James Harden. If not, you still have Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and you have great role players in Danny Green and Dwight Howard, who are coming off their championship season with the Lakers. So
wonderful. Thank you so much, Tenny, for joining us today.
Thank you, Archie.
Well, that is our program for today. Join us again next week as we bring stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Also, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and on YouTube. Thank you for watching. I am Archie Rose, Natividad Yi. We live in interesting times. Stay tuned for Kid Cuento.